Jamaican ghost stories that will keep you up at night. A restaurant in Mobay. Full story. This is a true story that happened in Montego Bay, Jamaica, some years ago. A young woman's granny worked with Amway and had been inviting her to join. She finally decided to accompany her granny to a meeting in Mobay, just to see if she was interested. Upon arriving, they were seated inside what looked like a big hall. They sat through the lecture and piped dreams for a couple hours until they got hungry. The young woman, let's call her Tabby, her granny and a couple of her granny friends, decided to go in the town to get some food. Tabby was a picky eater. They knew it would take a while for them to decide on food, so they split up with the other women to look around. They went to a plaza that hosted a bunch of restaurants, and the first stop pulled them to the door. It was dark, had natural lighting, and gloomy. It was strange for a restaurant in the middle of the day to be that dark. As they entered, Tabby held her granny by her arm, and they both had a strange grip on each other because something felt off. By this time, the friends had gone down to a different restaurant, but Tabby and her granny were drawn to this particular one. By the door sat an old man. He was tall and lanky, had a cap leaned awkward on his head held back, mouth wide open, fast asleep with a few flies a-follow him. They called to the man to ask him if anyone was inside, but he was out cold, him not even budge. Tabby started to scan the restaurant. On the counter was a wooden case that showcased a single moldy cupcake behind the glass display. She was baffled. They began to call, fighting the urge to leave, and giving in to curiosity. As they called, a young girl came out from the back dressed sort of like a bartender, shorts up to her behind and belly skin. She looked like she was in her early 20s. She looked surprised, as if they weren't supposed to be there. Tabby asked her if she is working, and what she had on the menu. Granny kept looking at Tabby in a strange way, because she knew something was off. The young girl said, "We only have curry chicken and white rice." Even though the ambience was weird, they still lingered. Tabby replied, "Okay, get us two." The young girl was still looking confused. She left, and went all the way to the back until she was out of sight. They waited for about 20 minutes. There was no sound, and no girl. Tabby suddenly snapped out of what felt like a trance, and told her granny that they should leave. They left confused, still hungry and lost. They decided to buy some food at the restaurant where the friends were. After they purchased the food, they were heading on the same stretch, talking about what they just experienced. As they got to the end of the strip, they realized that the restaurant they had just left was closed and grilled up with big heavy chains and a lock, dust, dirt, and everything. Tabby turned to her granny and asked her if she nasuwag one. One of the friends told them that the restaurant locked down long time. They left and went back to the meeting confused till this day. Whenever Tabby asked her granny if she remember about what happened that day, she always looked lost and say, "Me no know all, but me you look like a DUPPY restaurant wigga." Tabby felt like they crossed into another realm, because she and her granny have the gift of sight. They might have slipped into the spirit world unknowingly, but whatever it was, them glad them never get the food. Tabby shared her story with someone who tell her say, a regular people end up all by Duppy Super Road, but that's another story. Follow Jamaican True Stories on YouTube. Link in bio.